Hey, I'm back with an update on the IROC. After the last video where I was testing the oxygen sensor, I put that old original factory oxygen sensor back in the car. I've been out on the road. That cured the check engine lights. The engine's running quite a bit better. I've reached the point where I have enough confidence to drive the car more than 5 miles from home. So this video is about tires. I've decided to get new tires. The tire store is about almost 25 miles from home. So I really wanted to make sure that I was confident enough in the car to take it down there. In this video, what you're going to see is just what tires I bought. I'm going to show you the old ones, which are horribly flat spotted. I'll tell you, this car rode like I think the expression is like a buckboard. All 4 tires were square and they didn't all hit the ground at the same time. So getting up to about 30 or 35 miles an hour, you felt like you were getting ready to, so shall we say, break the sound barrier. And when you got above 30 or 35, the car would start to smooth out a little bit, even though the tires were flat. You could get it up to 50 or 55. But I wasn't really confident that it was safe going too far. And also, every time I work on this car, I learn something new. And the new is that General Motors put spacers between the wheel and the drum on the drum brakes. I'm going to show you the spacers and explain what I found out. I got a new set of tires on the car. These are G-Force Comp 2 All Season AS tires. There aren't a lot of choices anymore for this VR 60 245 50 ZR 16. Not too many people make 16-inch tires in this width anymore, but the Goodrich ones seem to be alright. I like them. They run pretty well. The old tires had some pretty good rubber on them. They hadn't been around very long, but I want to show you what happens when you have a tire that sits flat for 20 or 25 years. And right here is one of the tires that came off the car. And if you take a look, you'll see that it's rather not round on the bottom. Here, try to get a better angle on it. You can kind of see the belly and the sidewall compared to the rest of the tire. When you come around to there, it's just plain got a big flat spot in it. This car really rode bad. You can put air in those and they round out and they look pretty nice, but the car just vibrated really badly. However, since these tires have good rubber on them and they do round out, I decided to hang on to them because they are of some value. I've got 4 of them, one that's got a little more wear than the others. But since they're the original tires off the car, the original model, and they're not made anymore, they'd be good for static display if somebody was going to show one of these cars. So I figured I'd put them in the basement and hang on to them for the time being. I'm working on the IROC today to do a little project to put something back that belonged on the car. When I went down to the tire store, I bought a new set of tires for this car. But the tire store surprised me at installation. They came out and showed me a set of these spacers. And they were very nice about it. But they said that spacers are against their company policy. They're not safe. And they weren't allowed to reinstall the tires with the spacers that were in there. And I kind of had a little bit of a debate with them because this car has been mostly original and it just didn't seem like the original owner put aftermarket spacers like just on the rear wheels. I didn't see a reason for it. But I also couldn't find a GM part number on them. So I asked them to check their books and their system and see if there was a special note. And they came back a few minutes later and said, no, there aren't. We can't install your spacers. So I took that, I set them aside, and I've been driving the car here for a bit, but decided to go digging a little further. And the answer is, online, you can find excerpts out of old General Motors parts catalogs And for this particular car that's an 85, it says 85 to 86 F car, that's Camaro Firebird, with aluminum wheel N96, that's the 16 inches for an IROC, and probably for one of the Firebird models, probably for one of the Trans Ams. But anyway, if you have an N96 wheel, there is a part number for the spacer for the rear wheel, 1409-1902. And then they also list it for use in 87 and 88, again with an aluminum wheel N96, and along with it must be a brake package of J50, and it excludes a J42. Now I haven't gone down and looked at those, but point being that the factory did have a spacer on these cars. There was a different part number for 82 to 84 models, and in some of my looking, I think they went through from all the way up to 1992. You'd have to check for your own application. But 2 spacers, rear wheel only, with these wheels. They have a pattern on the back that matches up with the pattern on the drum. That probably doesn't seem odd. There's actually, it looks like they may have been glued on. There's some adhesive residue on the back. So the tire store must have had to pry them off. And there is a legend on the front side, on the opposite side, that says outboard only. So in any case, I'm going to reinstall these. The tire store, to their credit, I mean, they looked at spacing, and they decided that and they showed me that there was clearance between the tire and the suspension, and they didn't know why you would need an additional spacer that's about, just for fun here, we'll measure it and just see. 1/8 inch, 150, 0.150. So thin spacers. I don't know what the reason is. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that these appear to be aluminum brake drums. Not only do they appear to be, the parts list indicates aluminum for this application. And perhaps when you torque the wheels up, you need some extra structure in there to protect the aluminum drum. I don't know. In any case, if you have one of these cars, check your application for the parts list, and I'm going to carry the parts list with me so I have some proof when I go back to the tire store the next time when we do a rotation or do some service on the car. So we'll put the wheel back on, torque them up, and go over and do the other side, and we'll have it put back the way the factory intended.